This is Sky Blues Extra.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. And of course, season's greetings. Welcome back to Sky Blues Extra. Unfortunately, we weren't with you on Boxing Day. We had a well-deserved break, which I think was well needed. Tom, how was your Christmas?
Yeah, it was good, thank you. Not too bad. Just home with the family, which was very nice. But it was nice. How about yourself?
Yeah, just me and the missus at home, tier 4 and all that sort of jazz. So just us two.
No pub on Christmas Eve, sadly.
Yeah, absolutely no pub, and of course no visit to St Andrews on Boxing Day, which was a real shame. And of course this evening, I suppose many of us would have travelled up to Deepdale tonight to witness what was really an unfortunate, I think, rather unfortunate defeat for the Sky Blues. We, the makers of our own downfall at times, and I think tonight showed a bit of naivety, and just goes to show some of the luck that hasn't gone our way so far this season, Tom.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree. I think, I don't think we played too badly, especially in the first half. Mm-hmm. We weren't creating clear-cut chances, but we were definitely playing through them a bit, weren't we? And and then it's just sloppy errors, isn't it? Which we thought we'd sort of cut out a little bit, but
crept back, haven't they?
Yeah, they have crept back. Sheaf, I don't know what was going on there. I mean, he did. To be fair, he didn't get the ball in the best area. He probably didn't want it there. But at the same time, there's lots of things he could do there. He can, if in doubt, just clear it out for a corner.
Get it out. If in doubt, get it out.
Just get it out. It doesn't matter. No one's gonna have it go if you hoof it out for a corner. Do you know what I mean? I'd much rather that than losing possession there is absolutely criminal. And Championship strikers don't miss from there. So Clive was saying, it was an amazing finish. I would have finished that with my left foot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
you're right. Yeah, I'm gonna say you're predominantly right-footed, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm not even that good on my right, but you can't give teams chances like that. And then the second one was just an utter calamity, wasn't it? I mean, I don't know why Wilson hasn't just dived on the ball and absolutely smothered it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And he had opportunities to get rid, didn't he, as well there?
Yeah, exactly. So no, it's very frustrating when you lose the game like that, and they just sort of took control of the game then, didn't they? And the second half was just, I don't know how you felt watching it, but it wasn't great to watch the second half, was it? It just sort of time ticked by pretty quickly, and we couldn't get hold of it at all with the new system.
I thought that was a really, really poor Preston side. That's probably the worst I've seen Preston in probably 10 years, I'd say. Really, really poor. I'd expected a lot better from them. But at the end of the day, their championship experience has told there at the end, hasn't it? They've saw out the game, even though they were under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the thing. I think even their fans were saying when their team came out, they weren't too impressed with the team, and they've got a fair few injuries as well. Some of their key players were out, so it wasn't a great Preston side, to be honest. But they've still beaten us 2-0, and they've been in this division for a long time, and it kind of showed, didn't it? Really, in the end.
It did. Obviously, get your thoughts in on this evening's match and Boxing Day. If you want to talk about Boxing Day as well, we're more than happy to talk about that. As always, you can join in the conversation via chat. Use hashtag SkyBluesExtra. Find us on SkyBluesExtra on Twitter, and you can join us in the studio if you want to. And we also want to get your thoughts on some hot topics this evening. Of course, let's get your thoughts in on tonight's performance. A man of the match as well. Any man of the match? I suppose there weren't too many out there. But any nominations you want to get in for that? Of course, 2 defeats on the trot spells change probably needs to happen at some point. But what needs to change? What do you think can change? What can Mark Robbins do? We've got January coming up, so potential for changes to happen then. And of course, we'll end the evening looking at our next 5 matches: Millwall, Sheffield Wednesday, Reading, Nottingham Forest, and Birmingham. Of course, they're all massive games now. I saw results such as Wycombe winning this evening. Derby,
bottom three all got results tonight, didn't they?
Yeah, Derby. I think Rotherham were 2-1 down the last time Rotherham I checked.
Lost, but apart from that, I think most of the teams around us got results, or down
Forest
the bottom got results anyway.
A late equaliser for Forest. So everyone seems to be creeping closer and closer to us, and maybe we're getting pulled back into this dogfight at the bottom of the league, which it's not nothing that we didn't think was going to happen. We all said at the start of the season then relegation battle was probably on the cards, that's for sure. But we felt like we took a little bit of a step away from that, and now we're being dragged back in, which is inevitable, I'm sure. But those 5 matches are going to be crucial.
Exactly.
Right, let's go to some of the comments before we get our first guest in on the show. Josh saying, we simply look knackered. Our small team and budget is hitting us. I would try Bakayoko and Biamu up front to give it some attacking players a break. What's your thoughts on that, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we did look knackered in the first half, to be quite honest with you. I thought we looked full of energy. I thought players like O'Hare, Dabo, they looked really up for it, I thought we were putting some good stuff together. The only thing that was lacking in the first half was really clear-cut chances, but that was just because the final ball sometimes was going a bit too wide, or it wasn't quite on the plate for Godden. But I don't think we looked... I agree, second half, late on we looked pretty tired, but that was just the nature of it, of the game, and late on Dabo started to lose his legs.
I think it comes down to that, doesn't it? 2 mistakes have cost us in this match, and it's kept us chasing the game. We're always chasing at that point.
Yeah, exactly. At 2-0 down, it's always going to be an absolute uphill battle, isn't it? And we couldn't get a rhythm together really in the second half, like we did more in the first half.
Mr. David Moore is getting involved. Championship team on a League One budget. He couldn't. He absolutely loves it. He isn't on screen, but loves to get involved, and that's good to see. He is right though. We do need to focus on our team, and we have to back them as much as we can. We backed them in League One in that promotion and Championship winning season. We've got to back them again, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Dave's spot on there. I think it's. We said it time and time again. It's a lot of these players are kind of League One players making the step up, and that's all we can put together at this time. The summer was difficult, and we didn't have loads of. All we have to do this season is stay up, and then Robbins could build again. He can go out and find 2 or 3 or maybe four Hamers, and then we can be a much better team next season. That's just the nature of it.
Absolutely. You touched on him early on, but obviously Ben Sheaf is getting a little bit of criticism for that chance he gave up inevitably for that first goal. A great technician and passer, but at times about as useful as an ashtray on a motorbike. Very frustrating. Yeah, I think for me, frustration is the big word for me with Ben Sheaf. 1 minute he looks like he's the next midfield maestro. The next minute he's looking like a League Two player,
which
and that's what's
showed
really,
all over. Yeah,
really annoying.
He actually did some really good stuff just before his mistake, didn't he? He was digging in, he was getting his foot in the right areas, he's winning the ball back really well, using it well in the middle of the park, and then like I was saying, Chief's doing really well here, and then he goes and makes a mistake like that. So I think frustrating is the perfect word really for that.
And Ian's getting involved here, saying that the issue is that he does it all the time. He does always seem to give 2 or 3 hours a match, which is very inconsistent, and at the Championship level, you get punished for it, like inevitably it happened this evening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Largie's getting involved with the cider to help numb the pain of that result. Mark is obviously disappointed, but happy for Wilbur Parga. We've mentioned Wilbur Parga's name a few times so far, especially over the last few weeks. Why haven't we give him a shot? He got a run out there this evening, but I think inevitably that game had already gone.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't get a chance really to impact the game very much, but I'm just glad that Robbins has been listening to the podcast and listening to you, Dean. Banging the Bapaga drum for so many weeks now. It's
just nice to see him try something different there this evening. Actually, to be honest, he brought Biamu on, went with Biamu and Godden. Shipley was in behind them to begin with, and then as soon as that weren't working for 5 minutes, he changed it up again and gave Bapaga a run out. Do you think? Jordan Shipley came on this evening. Do you think time is slowly running out for him?
Yeah, I do think. And actually, if we talk about sort of the subs, I think Robin's got it completely wrong. Bringing Shipley on, I thought O'Hare was doing really well and was coming back and winning the ball, covering a lot of ground. I don't really know why he made that sub. To be honest, I don't know what you thought, Dean.
Yeah, it's difficult. I'm not sure what Shipley has shown this season to warrant a place coming on the pitch, especially when you've got untested players, and it's great to see Bapaga, but Hilsner was there involved in the matchday squad again this evening.
I just feel like are there players in the squad that are just in the matchday squad because they have to be because we haven't got anyone else
potentially, and other than maybe Bakayoko coming on there, that's the only other change forward thinking, I suppose. You've only got Bapaga, Shipley, Bakayoko,
we haven't got a huge amount of options there, have we?
There's not too many options. Obviously Castaneer not involved in the squad. Gibello is in the wilderness again, unless he's still injured. I'm not too sure on that.
I think he's struggling still with his injury. Yeah.
But I mean, options is the big thing, and the squad is showing it's threadbare at the moment, isn't it? And that's what needs to be addressed, I think, in January.
Yeah, I completely agree. It might be worth clearing out 2 or 3 players. The likes of Bakayoko, Shipley. As much as we'd be sad to see like players like that go, especially Shipley. If it means that we can get 1 or 2 players in and it helps us to stay up, then we've just got to be that ruthless at this stage, haven't we? We can't just keep players along just because we love Shipley and he's a Cov lad. It's kind of crunch time, isn't it, for the club, really?
Absolutely, and that's going to be part of our What Needs to Change segment in a little bit later on. So get your comments in on what you feel needs to change, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. It's time for a guest. Let's bring our first guest in. He's here again, Glenn Goran Eriksson. Good to see you again. Season's greetings. How did you feel after that, mate?
I'm glad I didn't pay a tenner to watch it and got it as a freebie off Sky Bet.
Yeah, that's what we like to see.
It wasn't great. I'll start with Boxing Day actually against Stoke because we actually played quite well, and I think we kind of hit on a system that worked quite well. But then tonight, just goals are just
sloppy, isn't it?
I mean, everyone can slate Sheehan. Why are we throwing the ball back to Hyam?
Yeah.
Why are we not just going down the line? And Hyam's played a ball into Sheaf where he's got his back to play rather than just clearing it. And I actually think, I don't know whether it's with Giles, Hyam gets a bit exposed. Hyam's been great the last 2 games, personally, on it. And the second goal was just exactly the same as the goal we give away against Sheffield Wednesday. It's a silly foul, and Paul Gallagher, and then I don't know. I think it could have gone in off any one of about 5 Cov players. I think it was like a pinball in the box.
I'm gonna say someone got a pinball machine for Christmas there, isn't it?
It's just, but Wilson's not had a save to. We've lost that 2-0, and you're right. They are absolutely woeful. If Tom Bayliss can't get in that side, I'd be fuming if I was him, because they were just.
What's with the insistency on playing the ball out from the back all the time? I know obviously we made a promotion winning season playing that way, but you've got to change things up, and we're the makers of our own downfall most of the time when we try and play the ball out, and we gave the ball away so many times, and it was inevitable we were going to concede from one, wasn't it?
Well, it seems like Wilson originally, when he first came in, we were going a lot more longer, and then it seems probably in the last 4 or 5 games, whether it's from the goalkeeping coach, whether it's from Vivash, Robbins, are all throwing it out more rather than Wilson booting it long, which he can do because he's got a great kick on him, and we're playing ourselves into trouble. And on it. And I mean, to be fair, Preston did it a few times as well. They played in trouble. We just didn't capitalise on them. But
I counted that we took the ball off them 13 times in that first half, and we did absolutely nothing with it. We didn't even create half a chance, I don't think, from any of those opportunities.
We don't. That's the only benefit of having Shipley on the pitch, that he is someone from 20, 25 yards out, he can hit it.
Yeah.
But besides Hamer, no one in that team wants to shoot. And like you make the point about Hilson, Hilson's apparently, he would have probably been given 10 minutes. Like I say, the game's probably gone, but I just think Papaga was played somewhere where it's not going to suit him, in not a 3-roll behind the front 2. I don't think he was just going to. If you're going to play him, you play with Godden and just say, we're going to go route 1, stick it on to Max and get runners off him. But yeah, it's just, I don't get why he took her hair off. And I love Shipley to bits, but that was just bizarre. That was just smacks of our best attacking outlet was Callum O'Hare today, and they couldn't live with him. And we take him off with half an hour of the game left to go. So. It's
going to be a tough one, Glenn, but who are you going to give the man of the match to this evening?
think Dabo was back to his best again.
Yeah,
he was superb, and I think that's probably about it. I don't think anyone else.
Josh
really.
is in there with Dabo as well with you.
Yeah. He was really good, and I think somebody said that we've only lost one league game when Dabo and McCallum have started as wing backs.
Yeah.
Since we went to 5 at the back, and that's pretty much says that as much as we like Giles does give us a bit more attacking threat, but we get wide open, and there was a few times I think it was in the first couple of minutes we got exposed. So I think, I hate to say it, but if we're maybe keeping McCallum, where does Giles fit in the team at the moment? So
I mean, Giles played ahead of the wing backs in those 2 games not too long ago back, and I thought he played really, really well in that forward position. Maybe that's something we've got to look at going back to.
Yeah, I mean, you probably could have gone 4-4-2 today, I suppose, when we're chasing it, and just something different. But I just think Giles at wing back. I mean, it was a break because it probably wasn't the easiest game for him to come in. He's hardly had a kick for how many ever weeks he's hardly featured. Yeah. And probably the Stoke game was an ideal opportunity to give him a run out, and he didn't do it. But it's just, as I said a few weeks ago, in a bag, but you've got to have a good Christmas when you play games pretty quickly, and it's not been a great Christmas period.
Absolutely not, but there is always Saturday. Glenn, thanks very much for joining us, and want to wish you a very happy new year for 2021. Thanks for joining us, mate.
Same to you, lad.
Cheers, Glenn.
Cheers, Glenn. Tom, just before we move on, 2 questions. How many Toblerones did you get for Christmas?
None, but I got Terry's chocolate orange.
Okay, fair enough. And
does that make up for it?
No. And 2, did you raid your dad's drawer for that T-shirt?
Which T-shirt?
The one you've got on now.
This one? Nah, this is another remake, mate.
Fantastic. And Tom, if it's not going too well later on, Tom will bend down and you can see his pictures of him when he was a kid. There you go. Look at him. You got chubby cheeks on the one on the left.
Simpler times.
Absolutely. Let's move on. Mark and Vicky Smith. Very poor going forward. Paid the price for individual mistakes. We got away with it against Stoke, but not tonight. Collectively, as a team, not good enough. I think the thing is, we create little opportunities, don't we? But we just don't seem to go anywhere with them, which is highly frustrating. Yeah,
exactly. It's just like when the ball does go through to Godden every now and then, but it's not quite right, is it? The ball, it's always going a bit wide, or Hamer made that really good run, didn't he? But then his touch was a bit heavy. It's just like we're nearly there with those chances, aren't we? But they're just not quite on a plate for us.
Nige involved again. Thanks for joining us again this evening, Nige. We need to bring a 1 or 2 in January. I think that's pretty much a given.
Yeah.
Shippers and Allen just not up to at this level. With a full squad available, we ain't too bad and they can fill in. I disagree with Allen there, because I thought Allen pretty much over the last 2 games has turned up and shown a glimpse of quality. It's just not a consistent enough.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a glimpse of quality. He does the odd really class thing in the game, but consistently over the whole game he doesn't offer enough, I don't think. But with bringing a couple in, who would you bring in, Dean? Why would you, if you could bring 2 positions in, what do you think we need? Goals.
Simple as that. And then I think we need another creative presence going forward. O'Hare's good to an extent, but I rather feel like O'Hare at the moment, and to a certain extent last year, his best position was coming in off the bench as an impact.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's trouble, but Bright is available. He is trouble. I know.
I don't know if he's the answer.
He might not be, but why not give him a go?
Yeah.
We can't do.
Yeah. The only other thing is if you get more of a holding midfielder, and then Hamer can go further forward and be the creative player. I mean, Hamer does so much. He creates so much, I think, but he's not always as far forward up the pitch, is he?
No. I mean, I suppose if you hold him back in that position, then you lose that sort of going forward ability, and vice versa, I suppose.
Yeah, And we say goals. I mean, I think January is a really tough time to go out and find a
It
striker
is, yeah.
who can score goals.
Doesn't happen
And
generally.
the thing is, Godden can score goals, so it's not like it's the striker's fault, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, I did see a comment here from Max. Thanks for joining us, Max, this evening on SkyBluesExtra Live. About 7 players who I'd look to move on in January. I mean, 7 is a big turnover. And we need to take maybe way more.
We can't do that in January. I agree there's a couple who we probably need to clear out more because we need to get people in. But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw 10 to 12 players out in the summer. Robbins tends to do that anyway and has quite a big clear out. I think he probably wanted to have more of a clear out this summer. Like, I was surprised by players like Bakayoko, possibly even Shipley being in the squad. Castaneer, definitely. So he probably didn't have much of a choice with them, that he just needed to have a squad together.
I was going to ask Max who his 7 were, but he has commented with the 7. So here you go. Bialmu, Sheaf, Shipley, Baka, Castaneer, Allen. Any in that list there you'd look to keep?
I wouldn't. I don't think we can. I don't think we can get rid of a lot of these. I mean, Shipley, Baka, Castaneer, possibly in January, but I don't think we can get rid of Bialmu. I mean, if we get rid of Bialmu, we have to sign another striker, don't we?
Yeah.
You know, we have to. Oh yeah, well yeah, Bialmu and Baka. We need 2 strikers then.
I would pretty much guarantee Bakayoko will go in this January window.
Yeah.
They'll offload him to just try and get a little bit of cash.
I think out of that list, Baka and Castaneer will go in January.
Yeah,
I don't think the others will.
I think they're pretty much nailed on to go, if I'm perfectly honest.
I'd be extremely surprised if Castaneer doesn't go, to be honest with you.
And I can imagine Castaneer is probably on a decent whack as well. So, that might open up a few constraints in that budget.
Yeah. We always seem to... Robin seems to sign like a wild card signing every year, doesn't he? And there is one that doesn't work out. I mean, Hilsner seems to be the one this year that just hasn't worked out.
Listen, if he hasn't got fitness to come on for 10 minutes tonight, then you're not going to see him in a 90-minute match, are you?
Exactly. So, yeah, it's strange. We seem to have one a season that doesn't quite work out and we're paying money for, or wages are high and things like that. So, I suppose that's just the nature of the markets we're dabbling in, isn't it, really, with some of these players?
Absolutely, and it's the same thing, isn't it, about the goal scorer, Ken? Disappointing result. We need the goal scorer. Plenty of possession, but it doesn't win games, and it doesn't win games. We can create everything under the sun, but if you don't finish them off, then
I just think it's not Godden's fault, if that makes sense. Like, Godden is a goal scorer. I just don't think he's getting the right service. That's the problem. I think there's something missing in terms of those sort of through balls and the creativity in the final third. That's the issue, I think.
And then you got the, who's available now during this January window. That's, is it Premier League loan signings? Is it,
tough,
do we go and try and get an unproven player from the League One, League Two wants to step up and make that step up? I'm not too sure many teams in the lower leagues are going to let go of their players, if I'm perfectly honest, because of the whole issue around budgets. I mean, money is absolutely gone in League One and League Two, to be honest. So
I suppose the only way that would work in our favour is if we go in 300-400 grand for a striker, and there's teams in League One and League Two who can't turn that sort of money down. But I don't think we've even got that sort of money, to be honest.
I don't think
with
we
our
do.
Sort of TV money and stuff this season.
I think the only way you can get around that is by throwing a player in exchange as well. So I mean, that's a potential opportunity. But if you throw in a player in exchange who's only got 6 months left on the contract, they become a free agent again in the summer.
Exactly.
So who would want to go with the intention of potentially moving again in the summer? That might not happen. Some of the names being thrown out. Tom Hiddleston is available, but I think wages are a massive sticking issue with him.
I mean, even he'd be on 10-20 grand a week. I mean, he'd be our highest paid player by a mile by coming in, and then it's risk, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Sky has joined us again this evening. Good to see you, Sky. Throwing a few names into mix. West Brom's Carl Edwards and Sam Field. Yeah, I think
Sam Field got talked about in the summer, didn't he?
They're not even involved in West Brom's squad, although they got a heavy pasting tonight, didn't they, by Leeds?
Yeah,
so Big Sam might want to look at the squad depth there and throw a few more players into their mix. Andre Green, also a free agent. I'm not too sure on
Don't know
whether he
too
would
much
suit
about
us.
Yeah.
He wouldn't suit our style, I don't think. Crawley's Max Waters. Again, it's
Yeah.
it's
just
going
that step
down
up
the
though,
leagues, isn't it? Joe Pigott at Wimbledon. He looks a decent enough player, but can he do it in the Championship? Sean's saying Wayne Rooney from Derby. I don't think he's going to leave his managerial position.
Yeah, well, they've improved since he stopped playing, I think.
And obviously Shankland is a name we've been linked with a couple of times, but I've seen that him and Matt McNulty have striked up a decent partnership, haven't they?
Yeah, I think we probably need £1 million to sign him, though, to be honest. And
yeah, I can't see that.
I don't think we're going to be making a big signing like that, possibly in the summer. But even in the summer, I mean, we might have to sell someone to create the funds. That's the thing.
It's a scary thought when you potentially want to put someone like Hammer on the trading block, and you lose a massive influence then on the squad, isn't it? And depends what you want to do. Do you want a massive overall, or do you want to try and just slightly add to what you've got? I would potentially go with slightly add to what we've got. I think it will put for me, staying in the Championship for 2 seasons, 3 seasons is key. I don't think we're going to hit those heights straight off the bat, are we?
No, but I mean, if we could get I don't like selling good players, but in terms of progressing the club, if we could sell Hamer for £8 million next summer, for example, and bring in 2 or 3 good players, they're probably already scouted now as we're speaking, because they do a lot of the preparation.
Well, that's the model we're under, right?
Yeah, I mean, but that is sort of how you progress. I mean, that's what Brentford have done over the years, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've sold numerous players every summer and just gradually built up their stock. You start signing £2 or £3 million players, and then you sell them for 12 million, and then soon you've got an Ollie Watkins on your hands, sort of thing. So it might be frustrating for a couple of years, but it might be what we need to do to get to be like a sort of Preston, a more established team in this league.
Absolutely. Obviously, keep your comments coming in. What needs to change at the Sky Blues to not only turn around the little dip in performances over the last few weeks, especially the last 2 games, and what you'd like to see happen to change the squad up in January as well. So keep your comments coming in. We'll discuss as much as we can. Oh, I've just got an issue with the comments here. Sorry, bear with me. Here we go. Brendan Cahill, easy to say we can unload the likes of Castaner, Bello, Bakker. We couldn't do it in the summer, and with the state of club's finances, you can't see it happening in this window. It is a huge point, isn't it? The finance situation in not only the Championship, but below us is absolutely awful.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's a really
these
tough
clubs
market
can't
to
even
be in.
afford COVID tests.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's a really tough situation to be in. I don't really know. Can we look into the loan market possibly?
I do think that's the only thing we can do.
Yeah, January's not great. It's not great for sort of free signings, free agents, things like that. So it's going to have to be loans really to do it on the cheap, or we're going to have to put their hands in their pockets, and I don't know. But it's one of those things, isn't it? Because like if we went down, it'd be awful for the finances of the club, really awful, because we've had a bad year financially anyway, and then you lose all of that TV money. So it is kind of crunch time really, and they might have to have a bit of a gamble at it.
It's kind of speculate to accumulate. I mean,
exactly.
You have to stay in this division this season more than any other season in history. Staying in this Championship is absolutely crucial. And I don't care if we shit ourselves all the way to 43 points and stay up. Draw here, draw there. I can give 2 monkeys, to be honest, as long as we stay in this division, because I think inevitably what's going to happen is a lot of clubs, especially in League 1 and League 2, are going to go bust. There's no two ways about it. These clubs can't afford COVID tests, never mind signing players.
Exactly.
So
it's just some clubs are just trying to survive financially.
It is, and for us, if we can survive this season, that's a huge thing, and it'd be massive going forward. Into next season. Josh is saying here, this is quite an interesting topic. Worth noting is we stay out the relegation zone, of course, but with COVID causing a fixture pile up before the Euros, he can see another PPG season coming on. What's your thoughts on that, Tom?
well, it's hard to predict, isn't it, what's going to happen with COVID, really. Obviously, the vaccine's coming, so hopefully that will help and ease the situation a little bit. But what I've been saying on Twitter in the last few days is I can't see why because there's this postponement talk, isn't there, at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how that's going to help the situation when the majority of games are taking place. There's no point stopping all the games now, is there? In terms of like the entire season being on points per game, I don't know. Surely we won't get to that again, will we?
I hope not.
I mean, I'd like to think we can play enough games. I mean, I think the players' safety is a lot different scenario to what it was back in March, isn't it? Because back in March there wasn't the testing readily available. We didn't know anything about the virus. For all we knew in March, it could have really affected young footballers or whatever. But from what we know about it now, I think even if there are a few cases about, it's just got to be managed properly. And if there are postponements, then that's what has to happen.
I can't see it going to PPG again. They'll finish the season off, if they whenever they have to. And I mean the Euros is another issue in itself, isn't it? I can't see them playing 10 countries. That's got to change, surely.
Yeah, but from what I've heard, I listened to the Price of Football podcast, and from what they were saying on that, the Euros will definitely go ahead because the money involved in it and whatever. That's like the absolute. They'll protect that no matter what has to happen. So
they can't play it over 10 countries like they're planning to at the moment.
They're going to have to do it. How the irony of the first time they do it across all different countries is the one time that's the biggest disaster you could have. But at the same time, we don't really know what the situation will be by then. I mean, if the vaccine's rolled out across Europe, then it could be a very different outlook in June, couldn't it? So
fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers
Not
crossed.
only the Euros, because it's great to support England during the summer, but for our season to finish properly on time, because you don't want Cov to be the only team getting promoted.
Just to get out of lockdown and enjoy some football and life to be back to normal as well, to be honest.
We don't want Cov to be the only team to get promoted and then relegated on PPG. That would be an absolute disaster.
Yeah, Sunderland fans will have a field day, wouldn't they? If that happened.
Absolutely. Danny's saying, will our game on Saturday be on?
I think I'm hearing whispers that it is likely to be off, to be honest. For the amount of cases they've got, it's going to be very hard to have it on. Because it's at their ground. They might have to shut their ground, apparently, because of COVID. And then we can't play there or whatever. So, but I believe we'll find out tomorrow or Thursday.
Yeah, next round of testing is tomorrow. So
so we should know tomorrow what the situation is. But I've got a feeling it won't be on. But we'll see.
We got the lottery
but we get a
numbers
nice
as
rest
well
if
for
it is
tomorrow.
off. What's that?
You got the lottery numbers for tomorrow as well. While you're making predictions. What's the new year going to bring? Get your tarot cards out. Come on.
God, I dread to think, mate. I wouldn't want to make any predictions about that.
Yeah, the recovery time is obviously a good thing as well. It's been a really, really, really tough December. Even since that international break, really, it's been relentless. Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday. It's
and I mean,
bonkers.
if the Millwall game was off, it gives us a nice break, and then obviously there's Norwich in the cup, and that gives us perhaps the chance to possibly play a stronger side than we were going to against Norwich. I don't know.
Would you do that?
How Robin's play a stronger side or a weaker side?
Would you play a stronger side?
Well, the only thing is the money in the cup, isn't it? Really.
But it's a lot less this year. There's like a 40% reduction in the FA Cup. So
so likelihood is Robins probably isn't as bothered about it then, because it is a bit of a money spinner. I mean, we did well last year, didn't we? We had a run a few years ago where we made a good amount of money from the cup. But if it's reduced and there's no crowd income either, then we probably don't want to be in that competition for too long, sadly, this year.
This is going to be hilarious. Sounds like it's going ahead Saturday, but even CWR can't go in the ground. Oh my God, what's going to happen?
Yeah. Well, if Clive struggles to pick players out live when he's watching it, I don't know how he's going to manage watching it on a TV. We
played Birmingham tonight as well at some point, which was just odd. It's just...
Well, I mean, what was it? There was Derby at one point. I think there was Plymouth at one point. My mate texted me. The Plymouth manager.
He's absolutely comical at times. Excuse me. It made me yawn tonight a lot, that game. But it's like if Clive can't go into the ground, what's he gonna do? You can't watch it on iFollow. It's already delayed as enough as it is.
You'll have to come around mine and watch it in Earl's Court.
Maybe you can replace Oggy. You could be the co-commentator. I would love that. Maybe we should do our own commentary for one game.
We should. Yeah, maybe this is the chance.
Absolutely. I don't think we'll be landing to the ground.
Maybe we'll realise that it's actually really difficult and that we'll get a lot of players and the team wrong, like Clive does.
It's going to be a little bit different Saturday.
Oh, wow.
But what he forgot to mention is what game he'll bringing you. It ain't the Cov game, that's for sure.
It's probably the Wasps game.
Yeah, exactly. Right, let's look ahead to the next 5 matches. So, obviously, Millwall Saturday. Sheffield Wednesday, we get to strike revenge against those only after a few weeks after that hugely disappointing result. But now, without Tony Pulis, who was dramatically sacked at midnight last night after 45 days in charge. His only win coming against the Sky Blues, of course it was. Then we played Reading, who we beat early in the season, who were table topping at the time. Notts Forest, again, stupidly late goal, we lost to them, and a score draw, Bore score draw against Birmingham. So a big 5 matches coming up. Tom, how do you see those going?
Massive few games now, especially when you look at the run we've got in February. These are big games we've got to pick up some points here. Millwall, I think, is an interesting one. If it does go ahead, they've obviously had a lot of players out, so you'd say there's definitely an opportunity to pick up a result there. And I'd like to see us go there and get a result.
They're in free fall as well, massively.
Yeah, like at least a point, but we should really try and get 3 points there. Sheffield Wednesday, I mean, they won tonight, didn't they, Sheffield Wednesday?
Yeah.
Which, I don't know if their players have got a bit of a point to prove now or something, or I don't know what's gone on there behind the scenes, but they've come out and won tonight, so, and they probably have a new manager in. We don't know who they're going to get, but potentially a tricky game, but like you say, we've got to get our own back on them. Reading's a really strange one, could go either way. We obviously beat them in the home leg, but they're still up around in the top 6, I think, still. Had some really inconsistent results, haven't they? Like we actually predicted before the season, they're one of those sort of strange teams. Forest, again, hard to predict. Just hope that they don't sort of start to pick up a bit and put a run together before they play us. And Birmingham is just, again, always a strange one at St Andrews, isn't it? But you look at it, they're all games we can get points from, aren't they?
There's no games like that group of games we had against everybody early in December again. Kind of like the games that are winnable. And they're all winnable. Right? They're all winnable games. On our day we can beat all of these teams. And I think if you look at our games in Feb, it's important that we do put together some results here. If we can get 7-9 points out of these, would be a decent return. I don't think we'll get results in all of them, but yeah, they're important games. Absolutely. Let's look at some people's thoughts on those games. Sky's going with 10 points from the next 5. Danny wants 6 to 7 points. He'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
Nigel's saying the next 5 will make or break us. I kind of feel in that same headspace, Nigel, to be honest. Because I think if you look at the games after that, it's everybody at the top end of the table chasing promotion, chasing those playoff spots.
We'll be lucky to get 2 points in February, to be honest.
Yeah, those huge. We're playing against teams with huge squads. They'll probably add to them in January too because they've got money available and resources available. So I'm with you. These next 5 games are absolutely crucial. If we can get 8 points out of those going into February, it keeps us in the mix, but it gives us a little bit more confidence as well going into those games against really tough opponents.
I completely agree. I think we're still 7 points clear, aren't we, at the moment? We need to have that 7-point gap or more going into February, because we could lose that 7-point gap in February, and then March is a bit easier, but we'll have to build it back up again. But if we don't have that 7-point gap going into Feb, I think it could start to get a little bit squeaky bum time.
Absolutely. Pete saying, cheer up, we're 7 points clear, bottom 3, 4 points. Listen, we're really, really happy and comfortable with the position we're in, but what we want, Pete, is that little bit extra. We've had opportunities over the past 2 games for sure, and you talk maybe 3 or 4 games over the past period of 15 that we've had opportunities to come away with more points than what we've got, and we probably deserve to come away with more points in some of those games, and we just haven't done it, and that's because we're too naive in this league at the moment, and that's the issue. That's why we seem to be down in the dumps. But don't get us wrong, we're very, very happy with where we are at the moment. Nige wants a minimum of 9 points from that. Michael wants 7 to 8 out of those. Carl's going for 9 points. I don't think. For me, I don't think it's even a case of like we would like 9 points. We need 9 points. Like Carl is saying, we need to.
Well, because they're teams around us, aren't they? So, games like the Birmingham game, like they're level on points with us, and Forest are below us. So, there's some of those games are 6 pointers, aren't they? That's the thing, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, Russ wants 15.
Goes for the playoffs.
Who's to say? I had a quick look at the playoffs tonight. We're slowly creeping behind that now. We're 13 points off the playoffs, so I think we can get that out of our heads for this season.
Yeah, fair enough.
A couple of people asking about Liam Kelly. Is he expected back in February? They did say
that's about the timeline, isn't it?
2 to 3 months. I would expect him back towards the end of February more than the start of it.
The only thing I would say is like Robbins does tend to overstate the injury time.
Yeah.
A lot of the time. Like with Godden, he said it would be months, and it ended up being like 1.5 months or something, 2 months, maybe even less. So I'd say Kelly, probably February time, all being well. And that'll be a massive. If we can get Kelly back in Feb, that will help us hugely in that really tricky month.
Sure. Pete said, judging on performance will be okay. Absolutely. I think performance-wise, I think we've shown signs that we can compete, and we just need a little bit of luck to go our way. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Aaron's follow-up is Kelly thing, saying he was due back with him. We need to recall Eccles. Is that a possibility, recalling Eccles, do you think?
I don't know what terms of that one is. He's there for a season, isn't he?
Yeah.
We might have a recall in Jan on that because Robbins might have had it in his mind. Yeah, it would have been smart to put that in there. They probably would have accepted that as well. So I didn't think of that. That's a possibility as well. A player that we could. So I think he's been doing really well at Gillingham. I think someone mentioned it on Twitter the other day about us recalling him, and all their fans were saying, "Oh, I hope that doesn't happen" and stuff. So he's been really good for them. So that's a possibility.
Absolutely, and obviously Marco Morosi. He was back in training. I'm pretty sure it wasn't contact training this week, but he's back in and amongst the squad. I'd expect the end of January for him to
maybe
be
sort of
involved.
3 or 4 weeks away possibly. But I do think Wilson will probably keep his place for now. I think he's done enough to keep his place. I think Morosi will have to work to get back into the team. Possibly wait till. I know, but Wilson made a mistake possibly for the goal tonight, but aside from that, he's been pretty good. So I think Morosi will have to work to get back into the team.
Yeah,
I think that'd be the fairest thing to do.
I think fingers crossed he'll be back towards the end of January for the really, really crucial part of the season. That's for sure. Sky saying Eccles and Drysdale can both be recalled, as can Mason. McCallum and Giles can't be recalled.
Can be recalled.
Does he mean can't though? Because he said however. I don't know. My English language is not there.
Yeah.
But
I doubt. It might make sense because I don't know if. Yeah, I don't know. But either way, I don't think they'll be recalling. I can't see Norwich recalling McCallum, and I can't see Wolves definitely. The only thing with Giles is if there's a clause of how many games he's supposed to be playing, and they could pull him out and send him to another club. That's the only thing with Giles, which because they do put. I remember when we had Duge on Sterling. I think there was a clause in that he had to play a certain number of games because we sometimes wondered why he was playing every single game and he wasn't even playing that well. So that could be it.
We're a long way away from those the mistakes in the past of bringing players in for no reason. So Michael's asking a question: which would you two prefer, goal scoring striker or creative midfielder similar to Welsh? I'll let you go first, Tom.
I'd probably go with a creative midfielder, to be honest. As I was sort of saying, really, I don't think it's. I think if Godden gets service, he will score goals. There's no doubt about it. Like if you put a ball on a plate for Godden, he will bury it. Like I have no doubt. So for me, it'd be a creative midfielder. I think that's what we're lacking. What about you, Dean?
Yeah, I think so. Create someone else other than O'Hare going forward.
We could have the best striker in the world up front, but if he's not getting the service, then what's the point?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've got goals in this team.
Yeah.
I just don't think we're creating enough to give them the opportunities to score. I think Godden, he's proved he could score a few goals at the start of the season.
He's only just come back in though, hasn't he? That's the thing as well. I mean, this is his second full game for us. He's still getting up to full fitness, full sharpness, and things like that, and he's not getting the service that he's perhaps had before. So, if it clicks, he will bang in goals. I have no qualms about that at all.
Yeah, obviously we've got Walker as well, who's out injured for 4 to 5 weeks. So that's a bit of a blow, but he'll be back. It seems to be inevitable we'll get all these players back at the same time. And it'll be in that period of February when we come up against the better teams. And
but it will be nice because we've not been able to see Godden and Walker together. We still haven't been able to. It was because Godden was out before and we were waiting for Godden to be back. Godden's come back and Walker's got injured. Luckily they weren't injured at the same time. Otherwise we wouldn't really have many options at all. But, we might see them play together at some point this season.
Fingers crossed, and hopefully it'll be soon.
Yeah.
Right, we'll wrap things up for this evening, Tom. So just on a final note, Millwall, if the game goes ahead, you going for a win? You got to go for a win, surely.
Yeah, why not? I mean, they're in dire straits, aren't they, at the moment? I mean, even if they've got enough players tested negative to put a team out, they haven't trained for like 2 weeks, have they?
No.
They haven't trained for 2 weeks, so even though we've lost tonight, at least we've played a game of football. They haven't kicked a ball for a couple of weeks. I think we've got to go out and try and win this game. Yeah, no doubt about it.
Absolutely. Once again, Tom, thanks for joining us this evening. A pleasure, as always, on SkyBluesExtra Live. Thank you, everybody, for watching as well. We'll be back on Saturday after that Millwall game to discuss all the goings-on on that game and how the season is shaping up as well. I think that's pretty much the halfway point, so we'll do a season recap as well on Saturday. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you Saturday. All the best. Happy New Year, because it'll be the new year. Stay safe out there. Peace out.
Cheers, everyone.